We are back on the Big Game Podcast, man. I got my man Daniel Horton with me. I am Chris Hunter. We got a really, really good show for you guys today, man. We're going to do our Rutgers post-game recap, and then we're also going to be able to preview a little bit of Oregon for you guys and get you guys prepared for this big game on Wednesday night against the Oregon Ducks, man. What's up, Daniel? How you doing, bro?
Man, doing good over here recovering from my weekend of basketball.
Hey, man, that's what we do. We stay in the gym all day. How many hours were you in there, man? Both of my boys had games this weekend. Spent a lot of time in the gym this weekend.
Man, total, probably about 7, 8. That's a lot. Most of them was Sunday. DJ didn't win the championship in there. Their 9th grade league out here in Georgia.
Dope.
That Grayson, the kind of best basketball program in the state in Georgia out here, so he's doing pretty well. And then AAU started immediately the next day. We had our 3rd day of tryouts on Sunday, so it's been a pretty long weekend talking about basketball, analyzing kids, coming up with schedules and budgets, coaching,
yelling at the refs. You know how you do.
No.
All of the above, but no, that's what we do, man. We're basketball lifers, and it's fun, especially when you get your kids involved. Adds a little extra element of excitement and emotion to those games, man. So it's fun. But look, man, let's get into this past game, man, where our Wolverines traveled up to Piscataway, New Jersey. Man, I don't know if you've been up to Piscataway, but it's one of those nice places to be for a basketball game, to say the least. But man, hey, coming into this game, it was a game that Michigan was sorely in need of, continuing their winning streak and getting a road game. And with Rutgers down one of their main players in Dylan Harper, it was one of those games where you had to come in and try to steal this one on the road for sure in a hostile environment. The RAC is always a great environment. It gets loud in there. I would liken it to one of those major high school type arenas. They get loud. It gets raucous. A couple of times we're in there, we got a couple of drinks thrown at us when I was on staff here in Michigan from the fans and some stuff. A couple of bottles. They were one of the teams that were serving alcohol early, so people are in there and they're excited about their Rutgers program. So, what were your thoughts about this game, man? Going into it, man, Michigan were able to pull this win out, 66-63. It wasn't a pretty game, wasn't our best game, but ultimately was able to do enough in this game to pull out a win. What were your initial thoughts on recapping this game?
It was one of those, like I said, it's that time of year, right? Especially in the Big Ten, you got multiple guys playing through injuries. You got a little bit of that mid-conference fatigue starting to set in. So it was a bit of a slog of a basketball game, right? It was up and down. You had some good moments, but I think we made enough plays and had enough good stretches and good spurts. So we played well in spurts to we were able to get out of there and get a dub. But I think it was some crucial plays. It was a veteran game, right? I think the seniors, the older guys, well, not seniors, but the older guys kind of made just enough plays to get us out of there at the end. So, like I said, tough away game in Piscataway, New Jersey at the beginning of February, end of January. And you just want to get out of there with a dub. It doesn't matter what it looks like. So,
yeah, any game win on the road for a Big Ten opponent is a good win. And like you said, I think our team out-veteraned Rutgers, right? They got the young sensations and Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. Unfortunately, Dylan Harper didn't play, and we were able to, kind of hold Ace Bailey to a subpar game, for his standards, for sure. Given that the last game he had 37?
Yeah,
dropped 37 on them boys' heads. So, like you said, we made a
35-point game in conference.
Exactly. So he's been putting it on people. In a variety of ways, and I definitely call him, one of those guys who's a pro at the prom, right?
Yeah,
he's a pro guy who's waiting to get to that next level. But we were able to do a good job on him, and we're going to break a little bit of that down here. So, like you said, we out veteran was able to make enough plays in this game throughout and down the stretch where we were able to pull this game out. And so we'll first break down a little bit of how Danny Wolf kind of changed the way he was being implemented, especially in the second half. So it's a little bit less of the 4-5 pick and roll, and he was playing more as a traditional kind of screen and roller 4-man, and he really had some success in that second half. And then we'll also get into, what Michigan did to slow Ace Bailey down, right?
Yeah.
Those strategies, and we'll show you the film on that, man. So let's get into it. As we look at these stats, you can see, Danny Wolf had a nice double-double with 16 points and 14 rebounds, which is a really, really solid game for him. Trey Donaldson had a really good game with 10 points and 6 assists. Still had 3 turnovers, but a 2-to-1 assist ratio is good for you. And Vlad is still battling, right? Still doesn't look 100% healthy, but 14 and 6 from him is a great game. And as you look at the other stats for Rutgers, Holton, Ace Bailey to 10 points on some inefficient shooting is a really good job. And then, they had Jermichael Davis coming off the bench and had a really, really nice game with 20 points and 2 assists to kind of help, take up the slack for, Dylan Harper being out, but it wasn't enough to beat the Wolverines. So let's get into this film, man. Let's get into it without further ado. Get into this film. And we can see how, first and foremost, we're going to see how Danny Wolf was used a little differently in this game. And I think it bodes well for the Michigan Wolverines moving forward. If he can play a little bit more like this, I think it helps them be a more dynamic team as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's one thing that we've discussed kind of ad nauseum over the last, since we've started this show, right? And we've just been talking about Michigan basketball that's been the big conversation, how they use Danny Wolf. And early on, it was a lot of 4-5 pick and rolls. And we both kind of thought that he would, that can work against in certain situations, certain matchups.
Yep.
But I thought that him being in the mid post and him being the screener and being able to attack closeouts on pick and pops, I thought that was probably his most effective usage. And so I think they got to some of that. We didn't see much 4-5 pick and roll this game. I don't know if because Vlad is, under the weather or still recovering. I know Trey is playing through a foot injury as well. So I think they did a good job of how they used Danny this game, and he responded well. So
yeah,
this is early in the game, 15-14. Once again, Danny's a screener. Like we talked about him being the screen. I think Vlad is out of the game, so we have Walters over here in the corner. I actually like this lineup. Whether you have Trey or Pippen in, that you can. I'm a big advocate of spacing. I think you can space the floor really well with this group, right? So you got Danny out here. He kind of dribbles into the mid post. Just be physical with him, right? I'm bigger than you, more agile than you. We got a point guard kind of setting the rub screen.
Yeah, that's a little different wrinkle that you see. Instead of a big guy coming over, you get him in the mid post, and the guard comes over, sets that rub screen. So now what you get a little guy switched on Danny Wolf, and he does a good job of like being patient.
Yep.
And finding an angle to score over the top. So good job of landing on 2 feet, being patient, pivoting through. And that's a good play for him. And like you said, another opportunity for him to be in that mid post and be a passer, be a scorer, see the floor, and use his skill set.
Yep. Here's later in the game, 1 possession game, second half, just over 8 minutes left. Danny setting the ball screen. Roddy doing a good job of throwing back. I would like to, see him stretch it a little more, then throw back and make Bailey's closeout even longer. And we just playing out of pick and roll, attacking the short closeout.
Attacking the short closeout, great spacing with Namari in the corner, holding that spacing now. Danny Wolf has a clear lane to drive right against a freshman who's super duper talented offensively. But he's a freshman, so you want to attack him on the defensive end, and he does a good job of getting downhill and making
stance opened up.
Yep.
Look at that.
Great spacing right there. You see that open block right there in front of your face? That's where you want to drive, that open block.
Yep. He has and then if he cuts you off, we know Danny has the ability to make that spin move back to the middle. So it's one of the things where, hey, young fella, you got to play some defense. I'm going to go score.
And that's what you want to do. You want to make a talented guy like that. You got to work. As much as you're gonna make us work on the offensive end, we're gonna make you work too and guard somebody. So
Yes,
that's an
sir.
excellent play. Like you said, that's a low risk play for a turnover, right? It's been one of our Achilles heels. You're driving into great spacing with an open block with a 7-foot guy against another 6'10" guy. I like that matchup.
Yes, sir. And one. Right. And we talked about you've talked about multiple times about Danny being better in the physical parts of the game, being more active.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Multiple efforts in the paint on the glass. You see it right here, right? Shot goes up. I can't get it, so I'm gonna tip it out.
And when you play like that, you get rewarded, right? So Danny Wolf has a whole lot of skill, and he likes to play from his skill level, but this is what we call a will play. So skill versus will. I'm willing myself some extra possessions, an extra basket, getting in there, offensive rebound, tip out, and the ball kind of just finds you. And, when you're playing with that type of energy and effort, now the ball just finds you, and he's closing it off and laying it up. I would like to see him turn that thing over and dunk it, right?
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Man.
Like that's the next level. And when I was watching this clip earlier, I'm like, hey man, you 7 foot, go dunk, turn that thing over and dunk it. That'll set the tone for you as a player, as a potential pro. If you got the ability to go up there and finish those things with some authority. But all in all, a good play. But I would like to see him turn that over and bang that.
Yeah,
sure.
Put him in the basket, bro.
Yeah, like you got to set the tone, dunk that.
All right. 59-55 game. 220, a little under 230 left. Crucial possession right here, right? This was one of those veteran possessions where we just go move it and get good ball movement, good man movement, and eventually we get an easy shot at the rim, right?
Yep.
Trey's probing. This is where, as a point guard, late game situation, I think he has to get a little better. We've seen him make shots, right? So now the play might not be a snatch back into a step back three to win the game. The play may be just recognizing matchups. Hey, you got to reverse this ball back to. I know you see this matchup here, Vlad against
Ace Bailey. So you got
Ace Bailey.
You got matchups on both sides.
Yeah,
but you got to see both.
This is the matchup.
I like that matchup too. Big Danny Wolf on him is a good matchup for sure.
Yeah, reverse that ball back. So let me go back real quick. Reverse that ball back to Roddy. Danny duck in right here in the mid post against that guy, against a 6'5" guard. It is maybe. I don't even know how big or how tall he is, but that's even more obvious than this one. Right? Get the ball to the right matchup. But we don't. Vlad gets pushed out. Vlad makes a great cut by
Namari, and that's where he's good, right? Cutting off the ball, finishing, like you said, another just veteran play out of something that's not scripted, but this is a veteran move. I'm cutting off the post. I'm keeping my head up. Danny Wolf good, surfacing right to the middle of the paint in front of the rim. That's what you want all your big guys to do on any action. Playing off penetration, and that penetration here was off a pass to Namari. Get your big butt right in front of that rim and get your hands ready to score. And he did that. Good pass by Namari. Keep the ball up high and finishing with touch off the left. Like you said, that's just a veteran play by 3 veteran guys down the stretch to get us a key bucket to extend that lead.
Yeah. And now I think here's where we kind of transition into a couple plays and show how we defended Ace Bailey really well, right? And this is what we talked about pre-show. Hey, I wish we would have been able to get in the Rutgers preview show. That way we could have shown some of the things that, that highlight some things that I thought Michigan would do to defend him. We thought Michigan would do to defend him, right? And one of the things that I noticed just in watching the film, he's not very good at taking care of the ball in transition. And so they're able to get a steal here, outlet to him. And part of being a freshman is like, poor decision making is going to come with, no matter how talented the freshman is, you have to live through some poor decision making, right? I think this is a poor decision by him. You got 1-2, it's 2-on-3 right now. And it's basically 1-on-2 against the ball handler. Right? Kind of fumbling and stumbling, active hands by Namari. Turnover.
and you give up a bucket, and that's the gift and curse of being so talented and athletic. That right now, Ace Bailey said, "I'm gonna make a play, man. I'm athletic enough, I'm skilled enough to make a play." But like you said, going against unadvantaged numbers, 3-on-2. Now this is the one where you just kind of drive it, set your defense, set your offense up, and let's get a good action. But him trying to make a play, being confident in his ability, got him in trouble in that situation.
Yeah, and it's one of those things you have to, like, as a coach, you might live with some of that, but in conference games and in late season games, I think now he's close to that point where he's not a freshman anymore, right? You got to kind of start making better decisions in those.
Yeah, you got to value those possessions. You get a live ball turnover, we got to get something good on the other end, whether it's a quality shot, a foul, but we can't get a live ball turnover and then come right back down and turn it over again.
Yep. All right, 44-41 game. They kind of into their possession already. We fast forward a little bit. There were ball reversal here to what's my man name again? A-Cuff. Yeah, his brother's going to Arkansas. Yeah. Ball reversal to A-Cuff. They're trying to get Bailey in the mid post here. Roddy does a good job of getting physical with him early.
And this was Michigan's strategy. You can tell, like, we got to pressure his catches. We got to make all of those catches tough. We got to make them contested. And Roddy Gale did a good job of doing work early, staying alert, and really pushing that catch out further than he wanted to get it. And then anytime, if you let that clip roll, you can get him catching the ball right deep in this corner. Now you stop it here. Now Roddy's done a good job of pressuring him. And you got a couple extra defenders over there in the baseline and the sideline.
Yep.
So now it's making a play in a very confined, tight spot for Ace Bailey. And this is good pressure defense. You want to make him every catch contested, every drive contested, and now catching it deep in that corner, you got two extra defenders to help you out.
Yep, two extra defenders, baseline, sideline. Then you have Danny kind of closing the gap here as well. Right, so he's for a young player to catch the ball in this position, being pressured, he's facing a ton of pressure right now. Right,
and you can tell that was another one of Michigan's strategy too, is to really gap heavy, and force these guys to make plays on the pass and not just be scorers, which is one of Ace Bailey's strongest suits, is to be able to score that thing 1-on-1. So they're really heavy in these gaps and showing help early. So this was just a good, play by Roddy on pressuring this guy and putting him in a bad spot, trying to make a tight rope type play on that baseline. And that was, one of his first turnovers of the game for Ace Bailey.
Active feet, active hands. I kind of wish Roddy would keep him corralled here, because if he's able to get to kind of put Cheddar in a bad spot, or Walter, whoever it is, in a bad spot, but
Cheddar right there,
active hands and tap that ball out, right?
And you why you put this clip on here?
Hey man, we're gonna talk about this. It's the whole clip, right? But
yeah,
especially the beginning. Hey, Roddy, again, I don't know if you watched the show, brother, but that ball coming down with frostbite on it, my man. I don't know if that's why he's shooting his percentages where it is. I kind of have my thoughts and ideas about why his percentage is where it is, with his form being pretty decent, right? But that's way too high of a shot. That's that ball coming down with frost on it, right? But he does a good job hustling back in transition. We get back. And watch Big Vlad right here, right? Vlad, this is how you run in transition, defensive transition, right? Watch Big Vlad. He puts his head down, first 2 steps hard, picks his head up. He knows where the threat is, right? He finds him again. Right, great awareness by Vlad right here. He knew he was there. He knew he had Ace Bailey running that side the whole time. Right, he helped close out, great shuffle of the feet. You have Namari right here as a second guy. We talked about Michigan having that second guy, heavy in the gap, not doubling, but heavy in the gap.
Heavy in the gap, loading up, influencing that pass away. And again, Ace Bailey catching that ball in that deep corner area.
Deep corner again.
And now we, like you said before, you got a couple extra defenders over there in the baseline and sideline, plus Namari. So you got 4 guys, and it's good. Look, working in a tight space against the sideline, heavy in the gap, right? So he's like, hey, you better pass it. We got all type of eyeballs on him. Even Roddy Gale is staring him down. So if you're Ace Bailey, you probably need to just move this basketball. There's nowhere to go.
Hey, this reminds me of the old Michigan State blocks and, or I shouldn't say old because Coach Izzo is still there. But this is almost like blocks and elbows principles right here, right? Like, hey, man, when he catches that ball, got a guy on the block, elbow of the block, right? Blocks and elbows, right? Normally, Michigan State would probably have this guy backed up a little bit, but this guy is such a threat, you have to be a little closer and make sure he sees two people.
So, yeah, he's seeing bodies. Like if I see this, I'm probably moving that ball. He takes a side step, 3-pointer against a 7-1 dude. If I'm Steve Pikiell, I'm probably saying, hey, move the ball, Ace. You know what I'm saying? You are very talented, but this is a possession right here where he felt very uncomfortable. And this is good defense by Michigan, good game plan on saying, hey, we loading up and we're going to force you to be a playmaker on the pass and not score the ball like we know you are capable of doing.
If he, Coach Pike, hey, man, if you Jason Tatum, we'll live with this. You might be Jason Tatum one day.
Yeah, he might be. He might come years down the line.
Yeah,
he might be.
But that's great defense.
That's great defense by Michigan.
Right here again, right? Just this time, it's the freshman Pippen on him. He's making it really hard for him to catch the ball right here, right? Being
physical. Yeah, he want to catch it on the elbow, but he pushes this catch out to the 3-point line by his physicality. Which is once every look at that. Every catch is contested. You got to turn this back to square up. All right.
He started on the elbow, ended up 3 steps outside the 3-point line. Right now it becomes much tougher. You got
look at Reuben Jones.
He left A-Cup and Walters.
We're loaded up. I left A-Cup over there in the corner. I want you to move the ball, Ace. We're loading up. Move the ball. We're standing right here. You're not going to drive. We're going to make you play in the crowd. So Michigan did a good job of making him feel uncomfortable and sticking to the game plan. And you can see the defensive game plan that they came up with for this game.
Yeah, Ace is one of those guys. He's if you make him take more than 2 or 3 dribbles, if you make him take more than 3 dribbles, he's probably it might be a turnover, right? But if you let him play within those 2-3 dribble combinations, he's really, really good. You have to really pressure him in those situations, right? Like great defense.
Great guy help, and now you make him take a spinning, like you said, fade away. Only people who really make that shot at a high level is what, Kobe and MJ? And he might be something like that down the line. You never know. But that's a shot you're taking, Michigan. A spinning.
Yeah, I'm living with this.
We're living with those, and Michigan did a good job of forcing him into those type of shots, which he can make. Don't get me wrong, but today
he almost makes this.
Yeah. But those are the shots you want. All right.
Yeah, now we'll live. If he does make that, you just take your hat off to him and say, hey, man, one-legged, falling away, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan type fadeaway.
And the one thing you don't want on this play, I'm looking at Sam Walters, is you don't want a double contest, right? If you go back to that before we get into these, like they did a good job of battling him, contesting this shot, and now Pippen is there. So if you're Walters, I don't need a 2-man contest, right? I need you to go block this guy out who's in the corner guy that you're guarding so he doesn't get on the offensive glass. We got a lucky bounce on this and got the rebound. But for Walters, I can't get a double contest on this shot. You got to see that Pippen is there. He's going to contest the shot. Now I'm boxing my guy out, and that'll be a perfect ending to a great possession of defense if we get that taken care of as well.
Yeah, that double contest is not it. Overhelping, but that just goes to show you the mindset of the defensive game plan. He needs to see 2 people.
Right? So, I mean, you look at these clips, and we'll go back, to this, and before we get to Oregon clips, a really good game plan by Michigan. I thought it was executed very well. When you think about the Rutgers game, it wasn't the best Michigan performance offensively. But I think defensively they did some good things, and then offensively they made enough plays down the stretch to get a tough contested win on the road. And like I said, any road win you get in the Big Ten is a good win.
For sure.
It's a good win, man. So, hey, kudos to Michigan. They are now tied for third place in the Big Ten with a record of 8-2. and we got, the Oregon Ducks coming into town tomorrow, actually. So, Oregon is 16-6, ninth in the Big Ten. Michigan is 16-5, third in the Big Ten. And the key thing when you look at these records, you say 16-5, 16-6. These are kind of even teams, right? But when you look at Oregon's record in the Big Ten, they lost all of their games in the Big Ten. So they're 5-6 in the Big Ten. So it's a little different, about how you look at this with them having 6 losses in the Big Ten. But, we're going to preview these guys. Obviously, if you look at these stats right here, and these are their points per game, Nate Biddle kind of is their big fellow who leads the charge for them. He's a versatile guy who can pick and pop. He can post, do a lot of good things for them on the offensive glass as well. Jackson Shellstad is kind of that leader, that point of attack guy, really good guy off the bounce, really good guy who can shoot off the move and shoot tough shots. And then when we were watching the clips earlier, your man TJ Bamba is like a bull in the china shop, puts his head down, drives the ball, really, really physical at the point of attack as far as driving and putting his shoulder into guys. So it's going to be a good matchup. And they got a couple of other guys off the bench, and Angel, who's a 6'9" guy shooting over 40%, who's going to be probably Danny Wolf's primary matchups. And then Jordan Tracy as well, who's another 6'5" athletic guy who can shoot, who starts most games for them. It's going to be a good matchup as well on the perimeter. So it's going to be a good game. Looking forward to seeing how these teams kind of match up in the chess match that each coaches play. But we'll get into this film, and I'll let you lead the way, man. We'll just go through a little bit of their personnel a little bit so you guys can see that. And we'll get it going that way. Let's get into this Oregon film.
Yes, sir. All right, first clip we got here. They're kind of into their possession already. Reversing the ball. We got Biddle here in the post. He gets to one of his pet moves. I've seen him make this move quite a bit. Catch and turn and face. What you call it, Chris? Y'all big fellas call it?
It's the Sigma.
Yeah.
The Jack Sigma.
Sigma face
that
up.
Reverse open pivot, Sigma face up. And he has a really good shot, really good stroke. And like you said, always on our films, man, look at the flick of that wrist.
Yeah,
that wrist flip. And it's a really good shot for him.
And we put it on here. And this is not the same possession. Another ball reversal. He's sealing. Catch. Footwork.
Face up Sigma. Like you said, it's not a duplicate clip. That's what he does. That's one of his moves.
All right. Fundamentally sound, big man, nice jump. Here's the screener. Catches a little pin down from the point guard. So this is intentional, right? It's not a broken play. It's not a broken play. It's point guard screen for him. Boom.
And he's a really good step-in shooter. If you let him get his feet set, he can knock those down.
Yes, sir. Right here, so we showed him with the turn and face. He also got a little power game in the post as well, right? Two dribbles to the middle, jump hook. Real old school right here.
Old school big. He remind me, if you look at him, man, probably not as big, but like a little bit of that Chris Kaman type of look, man.
Yeah.
Big fella with a overall skill set, good touch around the rim, not overly athletic. But big enough to really challenge you and make it tough for you on the offensive end, guarding him.
Yeah. All right, here these next couple of clips just to show the emphasis how they, there are different coverages against the pick and roll. Most of the teams that Michigan has played, has played the pick and roll a certain way, mostly drop cover. We've seen the film we watched together this year. We've seen almost exclusive drop coverage in the Big Ten sometimes, right? Or people are switching. Oregon kind of does multiple things against the ball screen cover. So the guards and the bigs are going to have to be connected and alert and aware of what coverage they're facing in that moment, right? So right here, he's playing drop coverage. They give up a bucket.
And not a good drop coverage, right? So when you watch these Biddle clips, like I said before, he's not the fleetest of foot guys of a guy laterally. So he is a guy that you can attack and make him guard these right now. Look, right now,
standing straight up,
not engaged, not at the level that he probably should be on a drop coverage, flailing, kicking his feet. That's not good ball screen coverage.
Yeah, like if you see a guy like this in the basket, he's not really playing basketball right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Taekwondo, maybe.
Yeah,
but
that's not good, dude.
yeah,
So
it's not good.
Michigan can find ways to attack him with that Donaldson golden pick and roll. I like to see how that comes out on the game on Wednesday.
Yeah. Here now, this is the next clip just to show the different coverage. He's going to blitz this one, right? They get into a weave action, ball reversal to a
step up screen.
He's a little late, but hey, we're going to blitzing. Good pass out of the double team. And then see, there's one thing about blitzing, right? It's hard to blitz when you're not tough on the ball like this guy is, and you're a little bit late like Biddle is, right?
Yep. So you got to be attached. You got to be attached. There should be no separation between Biddle and the Nebraska big man screener. He should be up. He should be attached. He should be early. And like I always said, like you got to have active hands. So you shouldn't be able to thread the needle
at all.
You shouldn't be able to thread the needle and get this pass to that guy in that pocket. And that puts a lot of pressure on that backside if you can get the ball in that pocket on the blitz, because now you're playing 2-on-1 on the backside.
And we always talk about bullying the ball, right? Bullying the ball handler in ball screen situation, especially if you're trying to get over the top. And he kind of opens up. Well, like that's not bullying the ball handler.
It's too much separation by the guy guarding the ball handler and Biddle on a big fella from Nebraska setting the screen. So you don't want that much separation. You want that guy to feel you and smell your breath on all of that stuff. And now you got a 2-on-1 on the backside. And this is something that Michigan can take advantage of. If you picture Danny Wolf in that pocket or Vlad Golden, who's really good in the pocket at finishing and making plays out of there.
Yeah. And so we'll get into this is Shilstad.
Jackson Shilstad, man. He's kind of the head of the snake for them. Does a lot of things with the ball and off the ball. So you got to be alert with him with the ball in his hands, but definitely off the ball. He's a guy who can get to the space and make shots on the run, on the move. So you got to be alert, got to be aware. If you're looking at this, Michigan will probably be switching a lot of this stuff as well to kind of take a lot of that away. You still got to be alert on him.
You know, he's definitely a big-time shooter, knockdown shooter right here. Like you said, this is an action. This is an old-school floppy action, right? I believe, like you said, Michigan is probably going to switch this, right? But if you don't, or if you're late, or if you're lazy,
you mess it up. He's a guy who can shoot on the move and hurt you. He hurt us last year when we went to Oregon, hit a big shot down the stretch to put them up and ultimately win that game. So he's a big shot maker, and he did that as a freshman last year, and he's stepping his game up even more this year as a sophomore.
Yep, here they get into what looks to be a double drag into a staggered, but it's really just to get this guy to open his feet up, get Shilstad downhill to the staggered on the weak. All this is to keep the defense occupied. As you can see, Shilstad has no interest in the guy coming off the stagger screen.
He's going to get buckets. It's clearing that side out, like we said before in the clips against Rutgers, that open block. Anytime you see an open block right there, that's where you want to try to get to and drive to.
And he's not I haven't seen a bunch of him getting to the rim, but this is one of his pet shots right here. We talked about this where he stops and pulls up right here, but it's not a conventional inside foot left,
kind of outside inside
right, pull up. Yeah, it's like a left, right. Let's say a little extra step in there and square him up, create a little space, knock down jump shot. Right. So we've seen him come off a pin down. We've seen him shoot off the dribble. Right. Those are two things that he can really do. Right. And now, right, missing to get out in transition, loose ball, rebound. He's
gotta find him. Gotta find him. Like I said, he's murder on the move. He's murder coming off screens. You got to be able to find him in transition because he can definitely make that shot at a high, consistent level.
You got to find him. Look at that. What we talk about, Chris?
The flicker there is. Look at the flicker there is. Let's go. I like it.
All right, here we go get into now we're gonna get into some TJ Bamba clips, right? Like you called him earlier, bull in the China
Bull in the
shop.
China shop, man. Their
When
third
he
leading
gets it,
scorer, and he gets it by trying to put his head down. He can make an outside shot, but his primary thing that he wants to do is put my shoulder into your
yeah,
chest.
I want to put my shoulders on you. We call it in our little basketball school, basketball academy. I know coaches all over call it something different. We call it keeping your shoulders on you on the rim, right? And he's one of those guys that's really good at doing that. Jab step. It's just off ball reversal. Bunch of off ball reversal. Not running anything for him. They might run a couple, maybe 1 or 2 plays per game for him, but they're not running anything for him. It's just a quick ball reversal. He's playing out of the flow of the offense. Jab step.
Reading
Boom.
closeouts and driving.
Shoulders on the rim.
Tough finish.
And I asked you before, is this bad defense or poor offense? We had a nice little discussion about this. There's great action by him, by Oregon. You got a shooter here, so he has to stay tagged. Get him making a little shallow cut. Shoulders on the rim.
Shoulders on the rim, and that's what he does. I mean,
watch what he does with the contact on this one. Dude, I almost killed dude.
It took him out. Bull in the China shop. So this is probably going to be Roddy Gale's matchup as a wing player, strong driver. So I mean, it's kind of almost like looking in the mirror when you talk about him and Roddy Gale as their propensity to want to drive, get downhill, finish with contact. But that's what you're looking at. Yeah, he flew out of there like he slipped on a slip and slide or something, man. I put that shoulder in someone.
He's the offensive player. Right.
Exactly.
Look at the position he has as a defender and just off contact. Right.
Exactly.
Strong player, man, and he's able to finish there. Right. That he's a strong kid, strong player, man. Right here, once again, ball reversal. Nothing. So he's not going to make a whole bunch of moves. He's not going to. No sauce on it.
I'm ripping. I'm going. I'm like you say. I'm putting my shoulder into you. Shoulders on the rim. Good change of direction. And with that shoulder,
it's almost like a 5-man change of direction.
Nice. Shoulder in your chest.
Almost, he's kind of a throwback, bro. That's like him and Roddy Gale definitely both have some throwback.
That's some throwback, man. He looked like a little bit of
bulldog tendencies to him.
For sure. He reminded me a little bit of Larry Johnson, man. A little grandmama-ish, undersized, kind of forward with strength and athleticism. That's what that looked like to me. Put your shoulder,
Get out the way. Look at the space he created. So they're at the second mark? Mm-hmm. Watch after the bump. Like, come on, man. Like he's moving people. They went from the second mark to there off the contact. Well, the contact was a little below the second mark. Strong kid. So he's going to be a guy that Michigan's definitely going to have to. You're going to have to pressure get up under him too, because if you give him space, that gives him room to kind of load up and get downhill and put his shoulders on you. That's a guy, and he's not. I haven't seen him make a lot of jump shots either, right? Not saying he can't, but you have to kind of play him similar to you with a jump shot guy, because if you don't and you allow him to get a running start at you and you put those shoulders and put his body on you, he can do some damage, get guys in foul trouble, get to the rim. So it's gonna be a couple of tough matchups they have out there.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a good game, man. You look at Oregon's record and they look like a very even team, right? Mm-hmm. Coming into this, Michigan is going to have their hands full with guarding those guys, but at the same time, Oregon is a team that I think you have some opportunities to, make those guys work on the defensive end and really get some good stuff. If you take advantage of the way they're playing defense on the ball screen with Biddle, whether they're in drop coverage or they're trying to blitz or hedge the screens, I think Michigan will be able to do some good things in this game. And if we continue to put Danny Wolf in those situations where he's playing as the pick and roll screener and playing out of those closeout situations or playing in the pocket or on pick and pop situations, I think we're going to be able to do some good things against him. But Trey Donaldson is going to have to be the catalyst again, right?
Yep.
That mindset where he's trying to get downhill, create plays, getting 2 feet in the paint, is going to bode well for Michigan.
He's probably going to be the guy guarding Shilstead as well. So you have to lock in on defense. That's your matchup: point guard versus point guard, right?
Point guard versus point guard.
Yep.
Which is going to be a really good matchup. If you look at their numbers, very, very similar numbers. You know, Trey Donaldson is doing a better job of distributing than Jackson Shellstab, but very similar numbers, and it's going to be a great matchup, man. So what's your prediction for this game, man? We're looking at it. What's your prediction right now?
Like I said, like I predicted early in the season, man, most of our games, a lot of our games, due to it being their first year together, the level of talent on this roster, the level of parity in the Big Ten, I think that most of their games from here on out are going to be 1-2 possession games. So I got us winning another 2 possession game by 5 or 6 points.
5 or 6 points. Yeah, I like that, man. I think we get over 70 points in this game. I think it's going to be a little bit faster pace with, especially the way Oregon wants to play. So I get a 69-75 victory for Michigan. That'll be my prediction. We'll get almost to 80. We'll shoot the ball well, and we'll get to about 75 points.
Especially this time of year with the, like you said, all of the variables that go into playing in the Big Ten this time of year is first team to 70.
First team to 70 is usually, I mean, that's the rule. First team to 70 is usually the winner of that game. That used to be one of our staples, you know, back especially in the Beeline area. You know, first team to 70. We get to 70 first, and we got a great opportunity of winning that game. So looking forward to it, man. This is another good show, man, a good breakdown. Hopefully you guys are enjoying our breakdown. You're enjoying the content. You're learning from what we're doing, and we're going to keep bringing it to you, man. So if you like what we're doing, like it, subscribe to it, comment, hit that notification bell on there, man, and share it with your friends so we can keep bringing you this great content, man. And until next time on the Big Game Podcast, I'm Chris Hunter with my man Daniel Horton. We will see you guys, man. Peace.
Peace.